Okay, good evening, everyone. It is Friday Night Live here from beautiful Conneaut, Ohio, down deep in the command bunker. Okay, this is T-Mac for T-Mac's American Experience, and we're going to do a live Q&A. And I am definitely interested in hearing your input on some stuff. I have some stuff to go over, and then I also want to, after we cover some of the hiking adventure stuff and creepy stuff that's happened, as you see by the title, Grassman is active around here. Okay, so my recent hikes, I've had some pretty scary stuff going on. And then we're also, once we get in that, finish some of that, and it's going to be some of your comments. Hello, Eric. Thank you for joining me. Then we are going to get into, I got a viewer who gave me a good report, and he did a little video on YouTube of it, and we'll go over that. And after we cover that stuff, then we're going to go over something that's just near and dear to my heart, which is self-defense and self-defense tactics. And not everyone is comfortable using the wireless hole punchers. And that there are other options out there too, but I'm going to give you pros and cons of that, and just other things onto that area. So I definitely want to start to go over some of the things that's happening. Hello, Holly. Thank you for joining me. I am, and there's Ken. Alrighty, Ken is best friend for life, my brother. Okay. Me and Ken have been on so many of the adventures. Ken's got me into this area here because as a kid, several of my our sightings that we had, that was Ken with me. Hello, Trevor. Charles, I was just mentioning you. Okay, Charles is in the comment section here. He did, and I love that he did this. He's from around here too, and he was out at a creepy place, the Friends of Conneaut Creek, which you guys all know, stuff that's happened to me there. Screamed at, had cameraman and crew down there. We've had some epically creepy stuff happen down there. I twice caught something upright on my thermal camera running away from me. And we've had rock throws there, all kinds of creepy noises. And he's down there checking it out in the daytime, and there is a solid foot of snow. We just finally had a break where the sun came out, and I kid you not, and Charles can attest to this. The sun finally came out. I swear to God, it's been at least a week since the sunshine was out here. It's been solid clouds and snow. So, okay, on that too, my daughter and her best friend Zoe also wanted to come on here and just pop in and say hi, so let's pop in here. Emma and Zoe, by popular demand, they've been requested by some people on there. Why don't you say something?
Hi!
You're very chatty, very chatty. Yes.
Definitely.
So,
Yep, most certainly.
yes. So, alrighty, so these two sixth graders here are celebrating a 4-day weekend. So they got
5.
lots of free time.
No,
4. 4.
We
Run
have
your math.
Saturday,
You go back
Sunday,
Wednesday.
Monday, Tuesday.
So, because of Martin Luther King Jr. Day and end of the
She's wrong.
9 weeks. Okay, so
No offense.
No offense. You just called our teacher wrong.
No,
What?
she's wrong about that one thing.
what? Okay, well,
She said that there was
teachers
5
are sometimes wrong.
days.
Depends. So, Mr. Wohanik's probably not wrong. He's
Hey,
pretty
I'm
smart.
going roller skating with Zoe
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Okay, well that's
With
that's
my
cool.
Aunt Mimi.
All right, roller skating. I love it. Okay, anything else?
My
No.
butt will probably be sore. when
Mine won't. I know
Your
how
legs
to.
will
I know
too.
how to roller skate.
So yeah. Yeah. Well, Trevor, yeah. When you say cryptids, that's where you say Bigfoot. The Ohio, here in Ohio, we call him the Grassman. All right, guys, head upstairs. All right. So cryptids, when you say that, cryptid, the Grassman falls under that category. Cryptid only means some of those could be, cryptids could be, myths, legends, fairy tales, maybe not true. Okay, the Bigfoot, Grassman, Yeti, whatever you want to call it, seen on every continent but Antarctica. So, oh, you wanted to show your Bigfoot? Okay, come on. Okay,
I got big feet too.
so, all right, show him, what's his name?
Benny the Bigfoot.
Benny the Bigfoot, there he goes.
He's very expensive.
All right.
He's got small
those
feet,
are not,
but he's Benny.
yeah, those are not very big feet. All right.
He gets it from me.
So, you ever, okay, so Charles, you're native for Colorado, okay, yeah, and I don't know, Ohio has always had, me and Ken, we could attest to this, we grew up hearing about the legends of the Grassman. It stemmed from Native Americans. Early 90s, the term really started to get popular. And Grassman is a translation of the Native American, the English translation of what Native Americans called it in their language. Okay, because because Ohio has a lot of the high grass areas and hemlock swamps. So that was where, and it was seen commonly in there. The legends with it were that the Native Americans said their arrows couldn't penetrate its chest. That story is very much confirmed and backed up by Daniel Boone's encounter, which was along the Ohio River. It was on the Kentucky side, but still same geographic region there. Anyway, so Charles is out today at Friends of Conneaut Creek. That is a creepy place, and we have a solid foot of snow on the ground. We finally had sunshine, and it got up to a balmy 38. First day above freezing in a week and a half. Hello, Larry. Hey, thanks for joining. And he found some kind of odd tracks. They were a little bit blown over, and but he did the right thing. He got out his camera, he videoed it, and he put it up on YouTube there, and then contacted me. I went out there to look. I found his tracks and traced his tracks. I really couldn't tell I was hoping I was going to be able to catch him while he was there, but I wasn't able to. And so he could point out exactly what he was seeing. But I wasn't able to exactly catch it on there. Hello, David Doggenbaum. Thanks for joining me. Okay. So he found some of the tracks that were odd. They were walking right along the ridge line, not where most normal people would walk, going across an area in a foot of snow, and they were made when we had temperatures that were pretty much sub-zero. Okay. Okay. And Trevor says, am I ever scared of what I'm doing? Okay. Video coming out tomorrow. I got the crap scared out of me. You know me, I don't really swear. I don't like to swear much. I dropped an F-bomb on this one because it scared the heck out of me, man. Okay, totally scared the heck out of me, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk about too. So, my previous two videos, I'm at Indian Mound Park, and I was ticked off because fishermen had gotten away. One of my viewers, Sue, caught something epically creepy peeking around a tree at me, and then when I rolled the video in slow motion, you could see it come out from inside the tree, peeking at me, and then go back in. And I had to blow it up and slow it down in slow motion to catch it because it was quick. And I always say too is with this, it's pointing the camera in the right direction. And I just had a fisherman bother me, and I was pretty ticked and kind of distracted by that. But where I pointed my camera at that, but really wasn't looking as much. And then what did I do? This thing is on my left side. I turned to the right and walked away from it. Again, it's location, location, location. But Sue, who will break down my videos very thoroughly, she did an excellent job. She found I looked at that and it like wow, made my blood run cold. I'm like, what in the world is that? I'll try to post a picture on it. When I zoom in on it too much, it starts to pixelate. There's a lot of dust in there. Hello, the author Marianne. She was also with cameraman and crew in the group at Friends of Cognac Creek. She can attest to this place's creepiness. So I thought this hike, I thought it was odd because a place where there is a ton of wildlife, Indian Mountain Park. That's one of the reasons I love videoing there. It was, I mean, just epic. Oh yeah, and Marianne, happy birthday. I know she's put it out there how old she is, although as a man, I'm smart enough to never say a woman's age on live, on live. So, but happy birthday, Marianne. God bless you. So, and so I was at Indian Mount. I was kind of like shocked because there was no wildlife down there. Hey Dan, thanks for joining. So I know, but you can say that and it's okay, because you know, if I say that as a man, my advice to any man is never mention a woman's age. Okay. So but so so I'm just kind of like shocked because there's like deer regular that hang around that Indian Mountain Park, and hunting season especially, they stay there. I've ran into all kinds of smaller ones. I've actually ran into some big coy wolves at Indian Mountain Park. I've ran into some bobcats there too. And this night there's nothing, and I'm thinking, well, it's the stupid fishermen. Maybe they scared it away. Well, then as I'm into the fishermen are long gone and it's dark, and all of a sudden I hear a rock go by me, and I thought, I'm like, was that a tree knock or what? I couldn't hear what it was, but it was definitely, reviewing it on the video, it was a rock landed near me. And then I hear a second rock, because I really didn't react to the first one. Here comes a second rock. Just, you could hear it going through the trees. Rock coming over. And that one got my attention. And that one got a reaction. And honestly, I think the rock throws, I think that's what they want. I think they're not throwing it to try to take my head off. I think they want a reaction. It's their entertainment. So as far as risking my life, and I'll go over some of that stuff here in a little bit. I don't think I try to risk my life. And I'm also, so Charles said he would love to go out on a hike. My friend John is going to be available to go on a hike. I get the two of them. I'm going to start to, Marianne, I'm going to start to grab you too when I have the two of them with me, or at least one of them. And we'll get, you know, we're going to start getting our little cognac group going. I love doing the stuff with cameraman and crew. It's just sometimes with the bad weather here especially, and cameraman's, he's an hour and a half away from me. And as we've seen, he's right, you know, Grassman's right in my backyard. So some of the times it's cool to drive an hour and a half away to do this, but when he's right in my backyard, man, I can just go just right down the street, and we have these same encounters. So again, that was on my other thing, my night watch there in my neighborhood there along the Cognac Creek. I could not believe how much wildlife was captured in the thermal. If you don't watch those thermal videos, I understand some people don't like them, but that thing caught so much more than I was able to see. I was sitting there going, oh, I see one thing, and I'm looking, and the camera has 3 or 4 different things there. So, and Ken has some very, very good stories. And Ken used to tell his stories when we were kids, and we really didn't believe him at first. And then we were with Ken, and we had an encounter. And after, you know, we were almost like in shock and ran out. And afterwards, I asked Ken, I said, is that what you were seeing? And he said, that wasn't the one I seen, but it was one like it. You know, so, and yeah, I got some epically creepy stories. And I actually did an interview on another YouTube channel here. They haven't aired it yet. When they do, I'll show that one. And it's just going over the stories of when I was a kid, of how I got into this. So, and as far as when you said about being afraid, you do got to remember, I've been through twice Afghanistan and Iraq, and I had to do 2 of my deployments. We're in a place it's called the Gates of Hell. Okay, they said it's in the devil's backyard next to the gates of hell. That's where I had to go. So if I walked through the devil's backyard and came out without a scratch, and I was shot at quite a bit, imagine I can walk through the woods in America and come out unharmed. But I don't want to say that like I'm bragging about what I did, but there's some stuff with me with fear. It's just not, it's just a liar, really. So that's why I don't walk in there afraid. There's been some stuff that scared me, though, and it's legit. So, and old Woody, I see you changed your name on there. Old Woody, he does hiking. He's another Ohio guy. It's another guy. I gotta, when we have some better weather, there's another guy. He's got to take me to some of the places he goes that are really cool. So, as far as Dogman, I said Dogman's a little bit more demonic type of thing, and I haven't, to my knowledge, run into it. Hey, Nancy, thank you for joining me. Okay, and as far as I know, I haven't run into the Dogman. I have run into some very large coy wolves, and I had somebody report almost what you would say would fit towards a category of, it wasn't Dogman, it was Dogmen, at Camp Pete, which is why I started checking that out at night. And if you've seen any of those videos have been creepy, and a lot of activity, a lot of stuff. Every time I go down there, rocks are thrown at me like crazy. I've also caught in whoops, and I was down there with Duncan, and he had a dang boulder tossed at him. But if you guys follow any of the other ones who get into this, there's a guy who is very good at his thinker thunker. He's does scientific evidence on this. He's pretty much come up with, like proportional DNA, he calls it, but he's also talking about how you actually have good sightings. And he said something that I found very accurate for my hikes. He said men going out there end up having, they antagonize men, because look, that's very primate like characteristics. Okay, the alpha, and it's like they get it, they know men are the alpha. Okay, and it's been women and children who have more of the direct sightings. Ken can tell you that when he was a child, he had some very direct sightings. Hello, thank you for joining. And that's exactly what happens to me on my hikes. It's exactly what happens is we get, and same thing when I'm with cameraman, we'll get antagonized, but we won't get that direct sighting. Now, cameraman has dug deep and got into some, he's caught some other things that I don't even know how to explain what they are. But in the process of looking for what he would call Bigfoot of the Ohio Grassman, he's run across some other creepy things. Because they're out here. They're definitely out here, and I don't have explanations for all of them. And so this hike I did, I went down to, I was down, this is a place where I actually had a daytime sighting when I was with Duncan. And I mentioned that because that's what got me into that. I was down there with him so he could video for his channel, and we had a sighting, and a 15-minute standoff with me pointing my gun on it, and we ended up having to walk out backwards. And it was in the daytime. Pictures are on my community page. If you scroll through them on my shorts, there's a 21-second video, because I put it on there because it's evidence now. At the time, I wasn't doing a channel when that happened. So, or what I was going to do was I liked videoing the Great Lakes ships, and I thought that was what I was going to do. And after that, I said, you know what, I got to start videoing these hikes, and we got to start digging deeper into this. That place, it's State Road Covered Bridge. Me and Perduncan then dubbed it Bigfoot Canyon from there, and I have been back there several times. I've had some creepy stuff. Mary Ann's been down there with me, and we had rocks thrown at us down there, and some creepy sounds. And so I went down there, snow-covered, cold night, just a couple nights ago, and man, I had the crap scared out of me on that. I was finding a lot of animal tracks and a lot of what looked like one of the ones I'm looking for. They're fisher cats or river otters, and I'm looking at that, trying to figure out just what it was. And by that covered bridge, I walk underneath the covered bridge to the other side, and something bangs on a tree 3 times like that. And I dropped an F-bomb on that one, scared the bejeebers out of me. So I start, I have the light up the night flashlights that bright as heck, and I put the flashlight over on it, and it goes quiet. And then I started to move to look, and I get another bang, and I started getting, and it just had this interaction. Well, then, if I have this here, I got to try to prove that, someone's going to say, oh, the wind's hitting a tree. So I had to do some little experiments there, and it stopped. Hey, Sue, thanks for joining. I was just talking about you a minute ago. Sue's the one who found at Indian Mound Park, found something very creepy peeking around a tree at me. I'll have to post that up on the community page. Short note from Australia also caught in Cuyahoga National Forest on my thermal video something that was really close to Jack, that somehow I thought it jumped back over the ridge. When I reviewed the video, it was there, and then in an instant it was gone. And I can look at it, I can make out the shape of a head and everything on it. And there 1 second, gone the next. And short note was able to break that video down, blow it up, and then send it to me. And I knew something was there, and she was able to do some editing on it, get it blown up to really see that there was something, I don't want to say humanoid looking, and it in an instant disappeared. So I don't know what it was, but it was large and putting off a heat signature. And so I did a little bit of experimenting, and I started messing. I'm like, okay, it's obviously sees me, so it went quiet. Then I started flickering my light at it, my little antagonization, and it started knocking on the tree again, and kept doing that. I kept angling around so I could try to look at all sides of this tree. I couldn't get, there was one part of there I really couldn't angle around to, but I was able to cover about 80% of this tree, that at least that I was thinking that it's come from. I'm not sure if I had the right spot. That's another thing we'll see on tomorrow. But I could not see anything. I could not now my thermal camera is smaller than my cell phone, so when I'm trying to look at that at night, man, I got to have something a little bit more obvious. There may have been something there. When you blow it up on a computer screen, it's all of a sudden all the details pop on that. But to what I could see in the moment, I couldn't tell if there was something there on the thermal. I had somewhat like possibly a heat signature, but I couldn't make out a shape. And I couldn't figure out what it was, but it had me creeped out. So I'm like, I'm not going to go further because then I would be putting my back to it. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk back up to the covered bridge. I walked out backwards. So, and I was very tempted. I wanted You know, I got the 10 mil with me. I was very tempted to pop a round off in there. Thing that didn't, I meant to bring my razors with me, because I usually will have them on my head during hikes in case I have to do something like that instead of blowing my eardrums out when I fire. I mean, I will if I have to for self-defense, but if I have time to put these on, then I'm gonna put those on. I left them sitting. I put them on the table so I wouldn't forget them, and walked out the door and left them on the table. So, and that's the only reason I didn't fire at it, because I wanted to see. I'm like, what is this? I just, like I said, I don't feel like popping a round off and then I can't hear anything. So I backed out of there slowly and made my way and went across the covered bridge, went over to the other side. And I just was, you'll see, I was like, just from that point, I was so epically creeped. I could not concentrate because I was so creeped out. And so explored a little bit more, and I figured, you know what, let's get out of here, and got up to the covered bridge, went back over to that side, and I was up on the road, and I was looking down at that tree, and darn it if it didn't start knocking again. So I'm like, I know it's still there. So, but it was so creepy, and I'm like, that could follow me, and I just hated to like have my back turned to it. So epically creeped out. So when you say, have I been scared? I guess you can say, yes, it really doesn't stop me so much. It may change my direction a little bit, but it doesn't really stop me. You know, even when I got screamed at and not one like U-turned me, I still, when I got to the stairs, I stopped. It was like, okay, let's look around, and then wander around on top of the ridge, shining the light down there. You know, like, okay, I'm gonna just retreat to higher ground. Because, you know, higher ground's the tactical advantage position. So that was what the stuff that happened here. That you got to check out this video, and I'm sure I'll put the thermal. I'm gonna put the video out tomorrow, and then Monday I'll put the thermal video out. Thermal video takes longer to put together. And I need you guys to go through this here, fine-tooth comb. I just got the video together, and I still am going through it on the editor. I'm gonna make sure it releases tomorrow, because I try to review some of the stuff on it too. But then I got to get to work to make sure that the thermal goes out on Monday. I got to get to work on that thermal video because it takes longer to put together. The thermal camera, it will record constantly. However, when you load it, to try to load it to go, it loads in 5-minute segments. So if I have an hour-and-a-half video, it's all broken down into 5-minute segments. It takes time to put it together. So those ones take longer to put up. And so with that, open up the floor, try to check out some of the comments. I see you guys have been talking, which I'm glad there. We got a good, safe community here. Just remember, this is safe zone for this stuff. Allowed to have different beliefs. You don't have to believe the same thing as me or anyone else on here. You just got to be respectful of everyone else's beliefs. Okay, but again, none of us have one in our basement to be able to study it, and I'm quoting from Wes Grimer. So yes, Dan, the molasses I'm going to get into. What's the matter? Oh, you left your, okay, sorry, my daughter left her Gatorade bottle down. So I do want to get into some of the other stuff. I know you guys see a little bit, and also I talk a little bit about some of the stuff that I carry with me, and I want to get into some of your comments, your takes. I'm going to go to the store here and get some. Well, I got to replace the vanilla extract because Dan, you got me yelled at by my wife. So I got to replace the vanilla extract, and I'm gonna look for some molasses while I'm there. I'm gonna probably get lost because I've never bought molasses before. So, but Dan's idea, what I did on the video, I soaked the rag in vanilla extract, put a couple apples out there to see if it would, and I probably, what I need to do here is this camera, which doesn't work too well for moving hikes, but I could station this one and try to see if I can station this one on. Problem is it needs light to see, and a light may scare, if I have a light on it, it may scare something away from going to it. So I'm not sure. I don't really have a night vision camera. Those aren't cheap. So, and it's going to take from my wireless hole puncher budget to get one. So I did recently just have to go through, I just went through a shooting course that was the same as the Ohio police officers take for their qualifications. It's because I'm also security at my church. So we had a called OPATA, the Ohio Peace Officer Training. He was an OPATA instructor, so he put us through the same course as a police officer. Okay, and still shot well, which was good to know. You know, I love going out to shoot and everything. And when I was Air Force and I was working at the prison, we got to shoot on a regular basis. We got to go through tactical training all the time. So now it's on my own to do that tactical training. So one of the things I wanted to get into here, if nobody's got any other questions. Nancy said about the whistling. I've had stuff whistle at me in the woods a couple different times. And I mean, you talk about making the hair stand up on the back of your neck. I have no explanation for what whistled at me. The one that was at Bigfoot Canyon, the thermal camera caught, and I wasn't able to see it in real time because I was like looking around for whatever whistled at me. The thermal camera caught something large, low crawling on the woods, low crawled away from me. So it's creepy to know I wasn't alone out there, definitely. And that was a night I had the hole puncher in my hand the whole time. Because I was creeped out. I just knew I wasn't alone. And the whistle confirmed it, and then the thermal camera confirmed I wasn't alone. So, but for me, like I do, like I've whistled at, like you see in that last video, I had some animals over, and I'll whistle to try and get attention. Elder Bear Claw, she's a Native American medicine woman. She kind of freaks out when you whistle. She says, "Don't do it. It invites evil spirits." And this is where we have a disagreement in our faith here. So I'm not going to be afraid of evil spirits. That's, you know, I serve Christ and I belong to Him. So it means I have authority to cast them out. So I'm not going to run from an evil spirit, and I'm not going to whistling. I mean, and I don't see that in the Bible where it says if you whistle, you're going to get attacked by an evil spirit. So I'm not trying to disrespect her. That's her beliefs. But I'm not following her beliefs. I follow mine. So, the physical whistle for like scaring away bears and everything. Yeah, I can see that, but I'm usually trying to catch those animals on camera. So that would be like me popping off a couple rounds into the woods with the hole puncher before I go in. I'm gonna make sure I see nothing. And if that's your goal, then you'll be successful. I want to try to capture the stuff on camera. You know, it's like, you know, I like finding the deer, raccoon. I love finding all the animals, man. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I state my goals at. So if I walk in there and blast a whistle, I'm going to see nothing, and my video's probably going to be pretty boring. So, so like I said, I'm trying to do some things to draw the animals in. So yeah, I see that, Marianne, when you say dogman and werewolf, is there a difference? To me, that sounds like the same term, really. I mean, it's, that's like saying a Yeti and a Bigfoot. Well, it's geographical differences. So, or, so that's what I think is, whether you want to call it, like I say, Ohio, we call it the Grassman. What is that? It's Bigfoot. Okay. Bigfoot wasn't coined until 1958. Sasquatch was a little bit sooner than that, but Sasquatch was a Native American tribe from the Northwest. Again, wild man, whatever, it's like a lot of them were called wild men in the East. So, and as far as I said, everybody's account that I've heard of dealing with what you'd say is dogman, they all sound, man, there usually seems to be an evil presence. Some people are scared to high heaven over Bigfoot, but there's a lot of the times, like you're scared, but you actually realize, like my encounters, I'm being harassed, I'm being picked on, I guess, for their amusement. So like, not really afraid of them. Dogmen, though, seem to be something that invoke real fear and like a demonic type of fear. And if you look at, I do like going back and looking at history and other civilizations. And do we have any other examples throughout human history of what you would say is a dogman? And the answer is yes. Ancient Egypt had a god that looked like a dogman. And there were actually, I guess, accounts from Israel of so-called man that they literally described as having a dog head. Okay, so some areas in the Middle East have definitely in the past had what you would call, that first, Anubis. There you go, Ken. Thank you. So, right. So, yeah. So, because of that, do I think dogman's real? Probably, and it's probably has something to do with this Egyptian god. And again, I'm deeply Christian. I know Ken's Jewish, so he would have probably a similar belief on this. The ancient Egyptian gods were demons. Okay, so that's what they were. They were real. They were real spirits. Yes, and jackal head too. Yeah. So they're real spirits, and that's one of the things too. I've caught in multiple times disembodied voices. And again, on this last video down here, the Night Watch one, I was hearing some noises I couldn't make out, and several of my viewers said you had almost like whispers. I at one time heard it sounded like almost like a person coughing, and that was close by, and there was nobody that they would have popped on that thermal if they were that close. That's what I heard, and it didn't actually. Some of the noises showed on camera, and some of them not so much. So, but I do have a couple of updates on stuff that's pretty neat. Okay, one, the sounds that I caught with cameraman and MT Paranormal when we were in Portage County looking, and it sounded like MT described it as walruses. I got the clip on that. I got the main video on my channel too. I got the short of it, but it sounded like, I described it as, it sounded like three gorillas having an orgy. Dee's Dark Adventure, who's she's from Ohio. She's Southern Ohio though. I don't know her personally, but somebody pointed out that she had recorded the similar sounds. I went, listened to that video. She did catch the same type of sounds, and she didn't catch them as close up. We were a lot closer than what she was to hers, but she described it as the same thing, as it sounded like gorillas having an orgy. So that one had me. I'm like, I've been digging to find these noises. Well, I just so happened to come across a sniper video of a guy who's getting rid of baboons in an area of Africa. And I started watching that, and son of a gun, if I didn't hear that same exact sound. It was a bunch of baboons going off. Sounded exactly like what we heard up here in Northeast Ohio. And that should not be possible. But we had a primate in Africa make a very similar sound. So how can something in Northeast Ohio make the same sound as a primate in Africa? Either there's baboons here, or there's another type of primate that makes a very similar noise to other primates. That's the only theories. That's the only explanations there is. So, and another thing, one of my favorite spots, and as you know, Indian Mound Park. Okay, some very recent research has come out on that, that they actually have, they believe they mislocated. They do believe that right there, that area, Indian Mound Park here in Conneaut, Ohio, that was the capital city of the Erie Nation, the Erie Indian Nation. And this was the scene of when the Iroquois came in to take over. It was the scene. And we'd always heard the signs that there was an epic battle. I had historians tell me there was a gigantic battle here in Conneaut with Native Americans. And it's because this was the capital city when the Erie were conquered by the Iroquois. And there was a gigantic battle here that happened all along the Conneaut Creek, and especially at the Indian Mound. So, okay. So, and there were thousands of people, women and children, who were slaughtered in that spot because they lost. They were able to breach their defenses and sacked the city, or their capital city there. And they said many did flee and get away, but a lot of them died. And it was right there in that spot, yes, Ken, right where we went camping as kids all the time and had epically creepy things happen, was the scene of a battle where people were slaughtered by the thousands, women and children. So, and all along that, they did their escape along the Conneaut Creek, which then runs right into my neighborhood watch area, which I keep catching disembodied voices there. That was an area they were fleeing and still being slaughtered as they were trying to escape. So that battle carried over into my side of the Indian Mound, which makes you wonder why I'm finding some of the stuff that I'm finding in these areas. So those are the two big updates that are, one's the main area of my hikes, and the other one, the sounds that I couldn't explain. And I guess it kind of gives a deeper mystery of why are we catching baboon sounds in the Ohio forest. Gosh, if you guys got answers to that, but now, if you guys got any questions or comments onto that, and I see Trevor, you're talking about the Nephilim. Nephilim is from Genesis 6. The sons of God, which those are angels, decided to leave heaven, leave God, go down to earth, and took human wives, and then had offspring that were giants and all kinds of different legends that abound from them. Okay, and that was in the time of Noah, where then God flooded the earth. There were also, during the times of David, there were some of the remainders of these Nephilim around that David went on a mission. Goliath would have been one of them, and Goliath's brothers. He went on a mission to kill these giants and successfully killed every single one and ran off. So several others fled, left the geographic area. So for that area, they gone. They're gone. But that's this is where I get into a little bit of Bible stuff. Jesus said about end times. He said it was going to be like the days of Noah. Okay. Well, it was in the days of Noah, the Nephilim. So would it be so hard to figure if we're in the end times, we're near the end, and we're seeing the Nephilim around here? Well, that makes sense. There's so many of the other things he and the Apostle Paul and some of the other prophets said too about the end times that are deadly accurate to our time now. So that's what I'd have to say is, and I know this is one of the things, Dan Frakes on here. He is a pastor, he's an evangelist, and he's definitely a good team member for me to pick his ear on things, because at the end of the day, I do put everything into a spiritual aspect, and that spiritual aspect is based off of Christ. So, so Dan's been a big help for talking to me on some of the things of what I'm looking into and which areas to not get into, and which areas to get into. Because on this next video, I ask you guys a very important question, and I'm going to just ask you guys on here now, because you guys that are on here with me, I'm going to tell you this right now. You guys are the ones I'm making videos for. You guys are the ones who are important to me. Anyone else who watches they're secondary. You guys are my P1s. You guys are the ones who are, so you're the ones I'm making video for. When I'm talking on those videos, I'm talking to you guys. Okay, so I asked the question. I got a call in the middle of one of my videos from a police officer, and he was giving me some information about it, a property. And then I asked on this video here, they have a house on the property, on one of the properties that this police officer owns, that I've went out there and done some videos on that property, and had some pretty creepy stuff happen. Stole my glow sticks. That was the one where my glow sticks got taken, which was my marker for how to get out of the woods. Made it really bad. He said there's a house on that property that they say haunted. They said they're like scared to go in there, haunted. He described to me, he described some details of a few of the things that he had happen, and he said you got to check that out. And so I posed a question to you, because I'm like an outdoor adventure guy. You know, we're hiking adventure. We're out looking for wildlife and all that stuff. And the only spirit I'm really interested in seeking after is Christ, say the Holy Spirit. Okay, so I was wondering, like, I put the question of, should I go in there? Because, and I got a preference to it. My way of doing this would not be like MT Paranormal. Okay, it would not be like, there wouldn't be a spirit box. There's not going to be a spirit box. There's not going to be that I want to chit chat and have a good time with it. That's not my MO. My way would, and I was talking to Dan about this, my way would be going in there with some anointing oil, fasting and praying before I go in there. And I would probably video, but I would say your time's to go. Your time is to go and see what, I'd video whatever reaction I get, but at the end of it, it's going to need to leave. So, and as far as, I mean, sage is definitely, sage is good for, man, sage will get rid of viruses, bacteria, all kinds of stuff like that. As far as a demon, I have to say, I don't know. My Bible says there's one thing that gets rid of it. It's just the name of Jesus. Okay. That's the only thing that I know that gets rid of it. So, and again, not my, so while my faith is an area and expertise, walking into a so-called haunted house is not my area of expertise. So again, the video wouldn't look like MT if MT Paranormal did it. And again, MT's my friend, and I respect what he does. We're you know, he has a different opinion than me, and he's allowed to. And because he has a different opinion than me, it doesn't mean he's not my friend. Okay, so, but that's not the way I would. It's not the way I would do it. So, because there's you know, the belief of whether a human spirit is here on Earth after they're dead, and I don't find evidence of that. I find a lot of evidence of what you'd say is familiar spirits, demons. They're not here for any good reason. They're here to cause confusion, chaos, nothing good. So I guess that would be the aspect that I'd go into. And his property, which I do mention this when I went out there to check it, it's on a place called Owens Hill, which is the highest in elevation point in Ashtabula County. On top of that hill is an old family cemetery. And on top of that hill and throughout the other woods, they've had the property owner, which is a police officer, and his son both told me about a mimic. Said something mimicking voices and calling their names. The story that they gave me is one of this police officer's friend was an Ohio highway patrolman, which if you know anything about police officers in Ohio, those are your top notch, your baddest of the bad for Ohio police officers. They're not afraid of, you know, anything. And this guy is up in a tree stand on top of Owens Hill, armed with both his sidearm and his rifle to hunt and hunt deer, so he doesn't have a small caliber. Okay, and he got scared out of the woods because something started calling his name, his first, last, and middle name. And he has no clue how anyone had that information to mimic that. So, the guy left out of there and said, "Yeah, I'm never going back there." The police officer's son was up there, same thing, started hearing his dad's voice trying to call him there out of the stand. And so he picks up his phone and calls his dad and says, "Are you calling me?" And he says, "No, I'm on the other side of the woods," which is, he has, the way he has, there's a big wooded area, then there's a farm, and then there's Owens Hill, which is a wooded area. Hey, Steve, thanks for joining us. And so he got scared to death and got out of that tree, booked it out of there, and he won't go back up there alone. So I said, Owens Hill is definitely a place I want to go and go up there at night. I just know when I went up there in the daytime with my friend, it was filled with thorns. So he rode his backhoe. We rode the backhoe up there plowing a path. So, but a lot of thorns, and something I want to have another person with me for. So on that, a couple of things I want to talk about here. You guys always see me talk about some of the stuff I have. I have the 2 wireless hole punchers. Okay, well, I always say I have my concealed carry, which is a Taurus G3C, and a smaller 3.5-inch barrel. Where's it at here? These are the nuclear codes I took from Joe Biden because he's got oatmeal for brains, so he can't blow up anyone. No, I'm just kidding. This is the new 9mm hole puncher, 4-inch barrel, so I can still conceal carry it, but more powerful. Longer barrel means more velocity, and so more bang for my buck. And I'm not going to open it, show it on the air, because YouTube is still run by liberals, and they kind of have fits over it. So, but I know, okay, for a lot of people, firearms they're a God-given right to have, okay? God-given right to own a firearm. However, they come with responsibility. They are dangerous, and if you use it improperly, you will lose your freedoms and possibly your own life or someone else that you didn't intend's life. So they come with a great responsibility. So some people are scared of guns, okay? Now, mind you, that gun itself can't kill you, can't hurt you if it has no bullets in it. It needs bullets, and then it needs somebody to pull that trigger. Take safety off, pull the trigger. Hey, Jackrabbit. Hey. All right. Hey, Ken. Jackrabbit is another one of our CHS class of 92 guys. So, glad to see you on. And so there's some other little things I always talk about. I always talk about knives and some other different things I want to do, show just for, I guess you'd say, is for some entertainment for you guys. Okay, I'll set this off. I got this bad boy. I've had this one for a long time. 600,000 volt stun gun. Okay. And this will literally change the atmosphere in a room. And if you have someone who's coming near you, an assailant, and you click this on, get ready. I'm going to give you a warning on this because this is gonna pop. It's gonna get your attention. Okay. So I'm gonna set it off. 3, 2, 1. Okay. This is a bad boy, and you have to ground it afterwards. And I found out you had to ground it because I didn't read the instructions first and stuck my finger on the prom and shocked myself. It really hurt. So, stun gun, very effective. And just setting that off could make someone run away. So also, okay, so you're at night, you want to go out walking, evening or wherever. And this one is also, it's a flashlight, it's a stun gun. And I haven't used this one in a while, but I'm going to show you the box here. Okay, so it's a Shockwave Liberty Technologies. It has on here, if you look up close, there's little prongs on the edge of this. And you set this off, and it's about the same power as that other stun gun I showed you. And it also doubles as, it can just be a flashlight. So, let's see if I can demonstrate that. Okay, you gotta switch it over. And so see, it can just be a regular flashlight. And okay, I'm telling you, the air on here feels electrified. So, and it has a switch that back here, so you can go to safe so you don't accidentally shock yourself. So those are a couple little gadgets. You're afraid of hole punchers, you're just not sure, you're not trained, and let's face it, hole punchers are expensive, okay? Because you not only have to buy the gun, you gotta buy the ammo, you gotta buy a cleaning kit, okay? You gotta buy a holster, okay? And then you got to go practice, which most people don't have a range in their backyard. They gotta go pay to go to a range and practice. So, so, yeah, right, Ken, yes, exactly. And Ken, okay, for my group of friends, Ken was the guy who read the directions. So in my defense, Ken moved away and he wasn't here to read the directions for me. That's why I shocked myself. So those are a couple little things of, if you getting to be a more and more dangerous world. I think we can all agree on that. There's been millions of illegals let in that have no good intention for this country. There's homeless, there's all kinds of stuff going on. Okay, the woods are not as safe as they used to be. And let's just face it, so there's a lot of people that are just, now I gotta go to the Apostle Paul, what he wrote in 2 Timothy. Men become lovers of themselves. They call good evil and evil good. It's exactly what's happening now. So, and I'm always going to stand on the side of good. So you have a right to defend yourself, and you have a right to defend someone else being attacked. So that's called Good Samaritan laws, if you defend someone else who is unable to defend themselves. So these are just some little tactics. Those are called less than lethal. I don't want to say totally non-lethal because there's always possibilities that something goes wrong. The sad part about this, while this may deter someone and it may send them other way, if someone's intent on attacking you, the only way these work is you have to be up close and personal with them. With a wireless hole puncher, if you want to threaten me, I can be 50 yards away from you and make your next appointment the city morgue. Okay. I can have distance. I can have range, which equals safety. In a situation, self-defense situation, time is critical. This is my power tack light. Okay. My power tack one, I always have this one on my hikes with me. It's really bright, 4,200 looms, but it has a self-defense feature on it. Not only is this hard metal, this is a hard metal flashlight. Okay, not only is this itself a striking weapon, and it's jaded, so it's designed to cut. But, and I'll put it to the side, I'm not gonna put it directly in the camera. It has a feature, a little button up here. You put this up towards someone's eyes and pop, will blind them. It'll give you seconds. And in that type of situation, seconds can save your life. So those are a couple little things I like to show. Just as a demonstration, okay, my 9mm, I always use buffalo boar when I'm out in the woods because I go for what the largest predator known is a bear. Okay, so the buffalo boar 9mm round, 147 grain, plus P means extra powder, means extra pop. 10mm round, 220 grains. Okay, if you look at the size of these, big difference between a 10mm and a 9mm. Okay, that's why I got both with me, but both are powerful. But it's always good to have that defense against your largest known threat. So I hope you guys like this stuff. Hope you're getting some entertainment out of this. I do see some laughters in there, and good because not only am I educating, I'm entertaining. That's what I like to do. I call it what's that? Edutainment, something like that. Yeah, I think I'm kind of speaking like George Bush. Okay, strategerism. So, but having options with you like that, you always have to. The more options you have, I always say this too: preparation drives out fear. Okay, and you wonder, it's like you ask, are you afraid? Well, usually I'm prepared, so I'm usually not afraid because I prepared. If I were to just randomly walk out in the woods like I am now, and with no hole puncher, no super bright flashlight, and I've seen people do this, using their cell phone as a light to go out in the woods. Yeah, I think you have a reason to be a little bit more scared. But let's say is I just for you guys here, I know this is getting to be more and more dangerous world. I care about you guys, and I'm gonna educate you on some of the stuff. If a lot of you guys do like to go in the woods, and some of you guys don't want to be, it's your right to not have a gun. And I truly do wish that the environment we had was that you'd never need one. But my hole punchers have now, I've counted up 13 times that thing is I haven't had to shoot it, but its presence deterred something from being worse 13 different times. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, what's that? Don't forget to put the Crocs on first. So, yeah. So I've also seen people out in the woods. It's confused me. I think they got out there and got cold, and they were in shorts and t-shirts, and they had no light at all. And they come walking up on me and MT, and they've seen our bright lights, started walking towards us. So I think they got lost too. And they couldn't see a darn thing. And we were like, what are you guys doing? We're actually like video, and we're like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, oh, we're hiking. We got caught out, like they lost track of time. They went too far in to the woods and couldn't get out. the daylight, and they didn't prepare anything. They were in shorts and t-shirts, and it was actually pretty cold. It was like it was like 45 degrees, and they're in shorts and t-shirts. Because I'm looking at them like, you guys are flipping crazy. And I'm sure they're looking at us going, I have hole punchers on the front there, video cameras, bright flashlights, and they're probably looking at us going, you guys are crazy. But I'm crazy prepared. So I'm sure they were probably a little afraid because they made no preparations. They didn't prepare anything, and that's going to cause fear. So I constantly do that tactical planning. Because that's what saves your lives. You think of the worst case scenarios, and you prepare for the worst, pray for the best. So, but and here's the thing: if you have a hole puncher with you, and you don't need it, you have no problem. However, if you need a hole puncher and don't have it, you have a huge problem, potentially your last problem, or someone else's last problem, because you were ill prepared. So, and again, just having something for self-defense, whether you use pepper spray. I do got to say, there's drawbacks, there's positive and negatives, and you gotta educate yourself on all of them. Whether you're going to use a knife, this is another thing. This one I always have with me. Okay, this one on the end here, if you look at that, okay, that's for breaking out a windshield. So if I have I see the baby trapped in the car in a hot day, we'll get it some air. I won't have to cut my hand open. But also this sucker, this will get someone's attention. Okay, I just love the sound of it popping out. So and then I also have, this is my little boot knife, okay? And actually, this is from Tractor Supply. Getting ready to go to Afghanistan for my last deployment, and I was out there and I went, hey, look, that matches my uniform. And I went, ooh, this is nice. This just goes right into your boot, nice and concealed, okay? In a pinch, in a self-defense emergency, this will save you. Unless, Ken, and you'll know this one, if you bring a knife to a gunfight. So, that's one of the things too, is if you have a knife and your enemy has a gun, you're gonna lose. So that's why I always say, prepare for the strongest thing. Prepare for whatever is the worst out there, and then hope you don't run into it. Or in my case, I go out looking for it. So I guess I'm actually looking to try to find it. So again, so Leathermans, yes. Leatherman field knives, yes. I had my Leatherman. I always had, every place I went for the Air Force, I had all 4 combat deployments. I had a Leatherman tool, the multi-tool. Also had a knife in it too, but I still have that Leatherman. Freaking went through hell and back. So, and it just bailed me out of problems left and right. Always came in handy to have. So, and so those are just a couple of little things looking at, and again, for you guys, picking up for your safety when you go out. Always make sure, situational awareness, guys. If you're in your car, this is one of the tips. This is what I worked in a prison too for 22 years. I worked around professional thieves, professional robbers, rapists, murderers. It's what they did for a living, and you get good at what you do for a living. Okay. And one of these guys who loved carjacking, he said, I love these new styles of cars. I just have to hide and wait. And as soon as they put the car in park, they still have a seatbelt on. And what's that, Mansfield? Well, there's a prison in Mansfield. I worked in the one here in Conneaut for 22 years. Okay, so he said he loved the new style of cars because as soon as they put the car in park, and notice this, okay, in the comments, what happens exactly when you put that car in park? Anyone know? your doors unlock. Okay. Now, if I'm carrying a gun on my hip down here and I'm strapped in the seatbelt, I have trouble getting to it. Okay. Right, Ken. Thank you, Ken. So what this guy would do is he would lay in wait in different parking lots and dark areas. He'd wait for someone to put their car in park. Bam, their door's unlocked. And nowadays, as soon as you park your car, the first thing most people do, they grab their phone and put it right up here in their face. Are you not looking at what's happening around you? And your door's unlocked and you're buckled in. You're vulnerable. You cannot escape. You can't stand up to challenge someone. You're done. If they open that door, criminal opens that door, you're done. You're whatever they decide is going to happen to you is going to happen to you. You're not going to be able to defend yourself. Even if you have the hole puncher down here at your side, it's hard to reach when you're buckled in. So that's why my reaction when I park my car, as soon as I put it in park and it locks, I immediately hit that lock button, lock the doors back, and then I'll fidget with my stuff because my door's locked and they're going to think my door's unlocked because they heard it. But what they didn't hear was it was a double. It was locking and it was unlocking and unlocking back. They're going to come grab that door handle. Well, now I know somebody's trying to get in there, and that just gave me seconds. It gave me time. Reaction time. Now I have time to get my wireless hole puncher out. And usually at that, again, think of how predators go for prey. They stalk, they watch for a weak link or the one that's not paying attention, and they hit them when they're not paying attention. Okay? People are predators. We're an apex predator. Okay? So that's what they're going to do. They're going to look for the weak link, the target that is not paying attention. These thieves love that everyone puts their nose in their cell phone because they're not paying attention. And they love it. And it's like, I don't know who invented the automatic door unlock like that, but I think that was someone who didn't like people, who didn't want people to be safe. So for me, they're going to grab that door and it's going to be locked and they're going to jammed. Okay. And they're not, then all of a sudden now they have to come up with a different tactic. I have a barrier. It's not a bulletproof barrier, but it's a barrier. So if they have a gun, I still can be at a disadvantage. I can still be dead, but they're going to have to shoot me through the car. A lot of the times they want the car untouched because they're trying to steal it. So, and also they would rather have a carjacking charge than a murder charge. Okay. So what you're doing is putting that predator at a disadvantage. And what happens if you watch all these the videos of lions or cheetahs, whatever, they go after a target and that target fights back. They decide it's not worth the energy or risk getting hit or risk getting hurt. Because if they get hurt, they can't go after their next meal, their next target. And people that are these predators against us, criminal aspect, they operate that same way. And most of them, they know what they're doing. They know they're going to get, if they get caught, and that's an if, they get caught, they're going to get a charge for stealing a car, okay? As opposed to a murder charge. So big difference, because this is the thing. They steal a car, they ride it around for a little bit and dump it. The police are not going to come looking for them if they didn't hurt anyone. They don't got time, and there's too much other crime going on. But if you're murdered, now the police are going to take time and they're going to go look for you. Families will hire private investigators. There will be a lot of people looking for you if you murder someone. So it changes the game. And that's what, it's like, so you want to prevent that from happening. So, but you got to do everything you can to save your life. And what if you have your kids in the car with you? Like for me, I have my daughter with me. Go to drop her off at school. Sometimes we have to sit there and wait. It's dark outside, wooded areas around. Somebody could come running right out of there real quick and snatch open the door. Not in my car, they won't. So they may get the guy in front of me, which for me, I would feel obligated to defend, but I'll have time to react. So, so that's one of the things. Yeah, ambush predators. So that's right. So they're ambush predators, and once the element of surprise is gone, a lot of the times now it's going to be more of a fight than what it's worth, and that's what you have to do with yourself. Make yourself not the easy target, because they will sit and watch. Who's the weak link? Who's the weak target? Who's the one not paying attention? Who doesn't look like they can defend themselves or has no means of defending themselves? Being, if you're a liberal and you're all peace and everyone should just get along, the reality is that's not the world we live in. And you can say, well, we have gun laws. Guess what criminals don't care about in the first place? Don't care about laws. Washington, D.C. and Chicago and New York, some of the strictest gun laws anywhere. And there's all kinds of gun, and they have some of the most gun crimes. Criminals don't care about the law. The only people that the law affects are the people who like to obey the law, which is the one the criminals like to attack. Okay. So that's my little advice, my little spiel on that. And if you're in Illinois, California, or New York, and you defend yourself, your government is going to come after you. Period. They won't come after the criminal, but they will come after you. So my only advice for self-defense in New York, Illinois, and California is to leave. It's my only. I got one bit of advice for you, and that's it. Leave, because your government is not going to. They're not only not going to protect you, as we see with these California wildfires. They're out there to hurt you, whether it's with stupid neglect or malice. They're out there to hurt you. So that's my little spiel on defense. Like, well, yeah, Jackrabbit, you got that right. Don't be sheep. Okay. So Jackrabbit 2, you got to get a hold of me. Let me know when you're available, especially when we get, I like to try. I don't care about cold or even the snow. The big factor for my hiking is wind. Wind, because wind wrecks it wrecks my hearing. It wrecks the audio on the video. So if you move up to the 51st state, I have news for you. Go to Toronto or Montreal, one of their big cities, or Windsor, right across from Detroit, and see how well people, the criminal element, like to follow the laws up there, because they don't. So, United Kingdom, they're finding out. It's like United Kingdom is like nobody can own a gun there. And they're having all kinds of problems with crime and people trying to be able to figure out a way to defend themselves from violent people. That the government has said these people who are not even citizens here, they're more important than the citizens. So you gotta remember, like I said, your government's not there to protect you. They're not. I wish they were. I wish we'd say that again. Wish we'd say that, we rely on, if we have a natural disaster, our government, state, our local, state, federal, they'll be there for us. It's not. No, they're not. So, right, stabbings, yeah. So, but you have to. It's on that. Like I said, for me, and by the law's definition, the hole punchers there, they're defensive only. I would never suggest anybody use them in an offensive manner. So it's a defensive tool, okay? And it's supposed to be used, and if it's used improperly, you're going to lose your freedom. So that's what, I know most of the people on here are type of people who would rather, we're the people who like law and order. So, so the people who like that, like everyone being decent and kind to each other, that's the kind of people we are. But, it's unfortunately not the majority. There's a lot of people in our world that aren't like that. So Stop, or I'll yell stop again. Right. That's what, right. Can you bring up a great point? Because a lot of most of the police in the United Kingdom are not even allowed to have guns. So you run from a UK police officer, they're going to yell stop, or I'll say stop again. Because it's like, you're not going to be able to shoot me. So, and these criminals know that. So they know the weak points. They study the weak points. So, all right. So you guys got any comments or anything else to add on this? So, and I know Ken, you got rough there. You're in the blue state of Maryland, where the laws seem to favor the criminals too. So, yeah. So, all right. So we'll start to wrap this up here. I want to say thank you for joining me. The video will be out tomorrow. Okay, Bigfoot Canyon. I'd say it's right up there with, it's right up there. It borders Tinker's Hollow. Actually, one side of the woods is Tinker's Hollow. So, it's just epically creepy place, and I need you guys to watch on this. Listen closely. Sounds, stuff like that that are in there. Be looking for that tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. I will have that video come out. And then Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern, I will have the thermal video of that come out. Did Perduncan ever get the audio of that chatter? I don't know if he did or not. I know he was looking at, I know he was going after that, and I know our daytime sighting, he got a much better video of it. Because they say he had his camera ready. I didn't. I was his armed. He didn't want to have a wireless hole puncher, so he brought someone who did. So I was his protection. And so I wasn't looking at the video, I was looking to protect him. And before that, we found some good-sized bear tracks down there. And I was following it was a mama bear and a cub that I was following the tracks on. So he was definitely glad I was down there with him. But I don't know if he got any of that better. Again, I've caught some of that. I can't explain why we got baboons sounding off in the Ohio woods, or something that sounds like baboons. I had no clue on that. In 2 different spots in Ohio. And cameraman Jack caught it again. He went back there and he caught it on audio again. Cameraman also caught some hair that he, found a clump of hair. Cameraman's getting great evidence. So, guys, that's my teammate, it's my friend. So make sure that I know most of you guys do. Most of you guys you check out Cameraman. But again, you guys see how I do my hikes. Nothing's faked with Cameraman. I've been out there with him. Nothing's set up, nothing's staged. It's all, he's just got a nose for finding this stuff. I don't know how, I can't explain it, but that's why one of the reasons it's like, I always tell him, I want to go with you. You know how to find it even better than I do. I've come across some epically creepy stuff, and more than what I've expected that I would find. But he's got a nose for this. So I'm constantly trying to learn from what he's doing. But one of the things he does is he's literally every day he'll be out in the woods. Every single day, wind, rain, sun, hurricane comes through, he's going to go out in the woods and look. And I guess raining, if it's raining, it's no fun for me. I don't like to really be out in the rain that much. Snow I'll deal with, but I always like to try to have something that I like having visibility, and I like having the wind messes with it. So, all right, guys. There's another thing, Charles. You got my phone number now. Text me, and we're set up. I'm looking at tomorrow late. I'm gonna say probably. I want to try to go out somewhere. Probably like towards dusk, just before, and be able to try to get out and look, because then my Lions are in the playoffs and the #1 seat. That's important to me. So they play tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So I want to be in time to watch my Lions game. So I want to try to get out like 5:30 or so. So, yeah, well, and Ken, that's another thing. Yeah, me and Ken, we had it happen together. So rocks being thrown at us from the woods, weird, nasty smelling stuff that we couldn't. So, yeah, when I say my Lions, yep, my Detroit Lions. That's been my favorite team forever. And as you know, we sadly have never won a championship in my lifetime. So I know Cleveland Browns fans can relate to that, but this year is looking like it might be the Lions' year, and I want to see it. So, all right. So yeah, well, Thad, you have good taste. So on that, I want to say thank you guys for joining me. God bless you. Stay safe. Remember, preparation drives out fear. Eric, go Buffalo. I'm not worried about Buffalo until the Super Bowl. And if anybody takes out the Chiefs, that's a bonus. So I will be rooting for the Chiefs to be taken out. I don't want them. I'm tired of seeing them. So not to mention of my utter and total dislike for Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. I cannot stand them. So on that, okay, guys. Thank you for watching. God bless you, and you guys have a wonderful evening. Thanks for joining me. I need to get the outro video like the cameraman has, but I just don't know how to do it yet. So, alrighty.